Hello, fantasy family, and welcome back to OG Fantasy Football, our final wrap-up, deep dive, year in review episode of our maiden voyage for this podcast, our 33rd year in the Big League Chew Fantasy League. I'm Brian Dunkelman. He's John Burrell. We've had a blast doing this. Johnny, I'm already excited for next season. How you feeling?
Well, I don't want to get to next season yet because we're in the playoffs.
Oh, playoffs?
We just happen to be Buffalo Bills fans.
Playoffs? Oh my God. I don't know how many more I can take. I guess 3. I can take 3 more, but you know, my heart, who was it on Facebook said something like they break my heart and they fill it simultaneously or something like that.
I saw a Facebook post that said, "Why are so many people selling their tickets?" And the first response was, "Because their hearts can't take it."
Yeah, exactly. My God. That game seemed to last forever too. I do believe it was a 4-hour game.
It did. I was trying to cook dinner. I usually have dinner on the table at 5:30. We ate at like 6:15.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it just, I told you, didn't want to play the Dolphins again. Much respect to the Dolphins. They just match up. I don't know what they were thinking with that 14-point spread. It looked good there for 17-0, but obviously that melted right away. And I had a bad, like in the third or fourth quarter when we went down, I thought this doesn't feel right. And I just, in my head was like, well, you're just going to have to live with it. Yeah. If they lose, they lose. And I was like,
I was right there with you.
Because what I like to say is those poor people in Western New York, they have nothing else. Well, John, I got plenty. I've got plenty to be grateful for. And I'm just grateful that we made it another week.
So do they. They have
because
corn,
snow,
Pumpkinville.
Yeah, Pumpkinville is just a delight. If you haven't been to Ottawa, where is Pumpkinville? What's the town proper?
Humphrey?
I think it's a Humphrey. I think it's within the Humphrey city limits. Anyway, we're happy that the Bills are moving on. We're going, look, it's only appropriate that we should play the Bengals. We got to play that game over. Happy that it's at home. I told you, Jacksonville, look out. I went to dinner at halftime. Missed that whole second half. Could not believe it, Johnny. I watched the
Lawrence
games.
Is a real deal.
Yeah, Trevor. I thought some in the first half. I was like, this kid sucks. And then I went to dinner and I was like, what happened? Good Lord.
Can I just interject?
Please.
Next week, Donkey Okie. Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young.
Wait, John.
I gotta say, rest in peace.
Yes. David Crosby. Possibly my favorite.
81 years young.
Wow. And he's the first one of them to go.
I expect to hear a lot of CSN on Donkey Okie.
Johnny, what do I do? All of the voices? I thought I might be able to pull off Southern Cross.
I know you can do Neil.
I can definitely do Neil.
I can do Neil, and I can't sing.
Anybody can do Neil. The problem is, John, nobody can do Graham Nash. Graham Nash fucks it up for everybody. Really? We got to lose Crosby? Graham Nash is still going on hikes? What's going on? No offense, Graham Nash, but nobody can hit those notes. Steven Stills. I've always enjoyed Stills. I like him a lot. But no, we've already got 4 in the can. John, it might be my best. It might be my best week ever. It's time for the Jewish Elvis.
Who's in the can?
It's Jewish Elvis. It's Neil Diamond. And let me tell you something. I think this is going to be the one that people are going to talk about for a long, long time. Got a lot of ideas. I got to talk to our good friend Tommy Lezot. Shout out to Tom Lezot. Had about a 2-hour conversation. It was probably only
an hour conversation with Thomas.
Well, it was about an hour and 10-minute conversation. It took about 2 hours because there was a lot of pregnant pauses. Somebody had a few cocktails and I was sober.
Thomas works his ass off.
Yes, he does, and he deserves.
Friday.
Damn straight.
He enjoys Saturday night and
on the weekend. He dips into the wine. We had a wonderful talk with him. And he brought up Bob Seger. I'm like, I got to do a Bob Seger week. So I got a little Billy Joel's coming up. There's a lot going on. All I'm going to say is that I just, my son the other day pops on The Masked Singer and I'm like, what are you doing? you watch this show? He's like, yeah, he's been watching it with his grandfather and he's totally into it. So I sat and watched with him. And about 20 minutes in, I turned to him and I said, I got to be honest with you. I'm getting some pretty severe flashbacks here. And he gave me a look and a laugh. It was just an adult. It was an adult laugh. And it was kind of a cathartic moment there. But you know what? It's fun.
And you're friends with one of the judges, right?
Well, good old friends, very old friends with, here's the thing. Ken Jeong, one of the nicest guys in all of show business. I'm going to say, I can't say he's the nicest because I've had the privilege of working with Henry Winkler. So it's a tie, but used to hang out with him at the Improv years ago. Just as nice and kind as he is funny and talented. And Jenny McCarthy.
Does he play fantasy?
I don't know if he does. I have not seen Ken in a long, long time, but I think we're going to put a little tape. We're going to put a little audition tape together.
Say Jenny McCarthy.
Jenny McCarthy, my first job in television was because of Jenny McCarthy. I was an extra on her MTV sketch show way back. I'm gonna say 96, maybe 97. So shouts out to Jenny. And Robin Thicke, I used to cater for a restaurant in town called El Cholo. And at a party, I served his father a margarita. I served him, I think, a couple margaritas, and I always remembered because he had strawberry. No, what's his name? Alan.
Yeah,
Alan
I said Alan.
You said Alex, I thought.
No.
Let's check the sound. We'll fix the sound later in post. But he ordered a strawberry margarita with salt, and I never forgot that. Actually sang and wrote the Three's Company theme song.
Where the kisses are hers and his, Three's Company too.
Not a lot of people know that. Alan Thicke did a couple theme songs.
You have no idea the knowledge you will gain by watching our podcast.
See, you never know. It's not just fantasy football. We talk about life, entertainment, the weather. Johnny, what a wonderful season this has been. We're going to take a little deep dive. The first thing we'll do, we went over this a little bit last week, but let's take a look at the final standings. Once again, congratulations to this year's champion, Ken Way of the Ass Kickers, with a pretty comfortable victory. He had a 36-point lead. He ended the season 36 in front of second place with a grand total of 1,000.
That is not a comfortable lead. That could be overcome in 1 week.
It could, but it wasn't like we were thinking this could be down to the single digits. And it was just a horrible last week performance by all three of us that were in the running. Let's not, ignore Stanley Ullman, who came charging back and ended up 57 points out of first. It's unbelievable. He was something like 200. So great job, Stanley. Of course, Steve Lumpy Kears took my second place victory.
Hey, by the way, we're going to have to backtrack in a minute or two to a trade.
We're definitely going to go over that trade.
Got some information about Stanley.
Great. So let's just go down the standings right here. I came in third place, and you know what? I've been saying I don't want the last thing I want is third place in a league that only pays out the two top spots. Except I didn't realize we pay out 3 spots. I don't know. Maybe there's a rule change. I don't remember, but I got a cool $150. I am a commissioner, but I got a lot of shit going on, John. Yeah. I've got a lot. I'm constantly recording. By the way, on this week, for Jewish Elvis Week, it is going to be my 200th. Yes, you heard that right. My 200th installment will happen at the end of next week. Go look at them. Go listen to them. You got no excuse.
300 is going to be a duet with the two of us.
Oh, absolutely. That's in on the books. That's on the books. We should have guest Dunkey. Here we go. Stanley Ullman finishes in fourth place, 57 points behind. And then, John, look at just a huge jump.
Oh, yeah.
The prodigal, Coleman Roach.
Year 2.
198 points. Coleman, a founding father of this league, went away on his little journey. He had to find himself. All these years later, he's back and a respectable finish with Coleman. Then we got the Omaha Steaks, 204 points behind, followed by.
And by the way, Tom dug him. He grabbed himself by the bootstraps and pulled himself up, partially because of a trade we'll talk about in a minute.
We're going to talk about that trade because if you don't know Stanley Ullman, you know he is the king of trades. There was talk about banning him from trading years ago. He's gotten better. Still got a problem. Now let's look. The only year I do believe Stanley Ullman won this league is when I was the one that made the horrible trade. I traded him Michael Vick. And let's not forget,
you stared into his eyes.
let's not forget not only Michael Vick, but Peyton Hillis, which I do believe he is making a full recovery.
Off the ventilator.
That's great news.
Thank God.
He almost drowned saving his children, and prayers up for Peyton Hillis. Boy, what a season he had the season I traded him. Hey, look, I had Peyton Manning during his prime. What do I want Michael Vick for? Oh, he's going to have the best season of his life. So Stanley won that one season because of my bad trade. We're going to discuss what we thought at the time, horrible trade. We'll see how the final stats ended up shaking out. Some young guy with 209 points out of first, Tommy Lizotte of the Tom Lizottes, 248 points out of first, followed by Mansfield.
That name hasn't changed in decades.
No, he's not. Tommy's not what we'd call the creative type. He's got the which side of the brain? It's just a little chunk that he uses somewhere in the middle.
It's right in the middle.
It's right here. It's that Great Valley. It's that Great Valley Bridge. It's the paint. It's the lead paint from the Great Valley Bridge of all those years hanging out on the bridge that kind of did something to this. I think it's the left side of the brain. Let's call it left. Then we got Carl Northrup, 265 points out, followed by my nephew, Justin Scharf, Butterfly Toast. He stuck with that name till the end, 284 out. The Meltdowns, Jeff Golly with 290 out, and then John. Good Lord, my friend. We tried to keep you out of that basement, but here you are. You're still alive. You're still breathing. You weathered the storm. 346 points out of first.
I only had 681 points. It is possible to have that after like week 9.
What's the can we go back and see what the lowest point total is?
Yeah, I have. It isn't that.
It's not that.
But it's very close.
It's not good.
It's very close.
So once again, congratulations.
Year one of the podcast.
Good Lord, yes.
To take a big loose poop right down my leg.
Hey, you know what though? What a great way to show the highs and the lows.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm on the high end and you're on the low end, but we want to show the people the range because you did come in second last year. And I do believe you pocketed a nice $700. So let's not forget that. You've won this league more than anybody. I do believe you won it 5, or is it 6 times?
I think it's 6.
Good Lord. I think I've only won it 3. I'm due.
Hard to tell because back in the day, there's prehistory and then there's TV. I mean, we've been doing this so long that we don't actually have records.
No, we don't.
Computers didn't exist.
We didn't have computers. All we had newspapers back in the day. You ever hear of those, kids?
And
you get black shit on your fingers.
Binders and stuff.
Yeah. So let's take a look. And you want to take a look at that trade? Let's do it. Let's do a little analysis
right now?
of
you
the
want
trade
to do that right now?
Yeah, let's do it if you got that handy, because it sent ripples.
Oh, got it.
Shockwaves through the league. Stanley,
Stanley,
what the
Ullman.
fuck are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
Stanley Ullman, always itching for a trade.
Never met a trade he didn't offer.
Drafted Stephon Diggs. Now, Stanley's not a Bills fan.
He's the only non-Bills fan.
We're a Bills homer league, not a Bills fan. So he thought he'd tap the biggest homer, Brian's brother Tom, Omaha State.
Yep.
And dangle Stephon Diggs. And Jonathan Taylor.
Who he took number 1. We'll get to the draft. We'll get to the draft analysis, but he took him number 1. Let's not forget that. His number 1 pick.
And Michael Pittman. And in exchange, forgive me if I don't get all the names right, because they're not household names. Rashad Bateman.
Yes.
Rashad Penny.
The Rashad brothers.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
He had Felicia Rashad as well. I do believe was involved in this trade. You
Was
see,
was Ahmad Rashad?
yeah, I don't know. That's how long we've been playing. I think somebody had
Ahmad
Ahmad
Rashad
Rashad
was
on
a
his.
Bill,
He
by the way.
was. He was
Yes, he
for a
was.
couple. How many seasons?
I don't know.
He also played
I
for the
was
Vikings. I
I
do
was
remember that.
5. I was
Back in the Joe Cribbs, Jerry Butler days.
no, that was back before that.
Look,
Anyways,
it's all a blur.
let's break it down.
So
So
it was a 3-for-3 trade,
the
if I'm not
trade was
mistaken.
made on October 5th.
So very early on, week
A
5.
little suspense. Stanley finished 57 points out of first place.
Right.
And Tom finished where? 6th? What did we decide that?
About 200 points out of first, a little over
Yeah.
200.
So Rashad Bateman. Now, I did not have time to crack the whip on our data analytics team. I'm too busy. I couldn't drive them. So I don't know how many actual points Stanley got week by week. All we could do is the tally after the trade.
The totals.
Yeah. So Bateman from Ozark and other TV shows had 0 points after the trade. Rashad Penny. If you don't have a penny, give a hay penny. He didn't even have a hay
for your thoughts.
Penny for your thoughts. Let's call it a deal.
He didn't have a hay penny. He had
A
no
bright,
pennies.
shiny penny.
No, 0.
0.0.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's really who we wanted. I think he wanted. He's the next Josh Charles of Crossing the Bridge fame. Check that movie. If you haven't seen Crossing the Bridge, see it.
So Clyde had 9. So that trade netted Stanley Allman of the Deadheads 9 points. 9.
Wow, 9. Now,
9.
let's keep in mind, because he traded for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he picked up the guy who replaced him. I do believe it was he picked up the guy behind the guy that replaced him, because Pachenko is the one who got in there, and then Jerick McKinnon just did his Priest Holmes impression and went absolutely crazy and finished with over 100 points for the year. Unbelievable. There was a stretch there where he had over 20 points, I think 4 or 5 weeks in a row, John.
Yes.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So let's look at the Omaha Steaks side of this trade. So Jonathan Taylor from week 5 until week 18 had 24 points. Michael Pittman had 18 points. And the Buffalo Bill, our beloved, the man of the community, the man who gave shoes to a young boy that brought tears to our eyes pregame 2 weeks ago.
It was beautiful.
Stefan Diggs.
Love Stefan. Oh, and to think that people thought he had an attitude problem before he came to Buffalo. Like that's a mensch. That's a Hollywood term, John. It's what people from the tribes call just a salt of the earth person. We love you, Stefan Diggs. Go get that ring.
He had 57 points. So the most, I can't vouch for the fact that Tom got all the points, but the most points he could have gotten, 99. Stanley lost by 57. All he had to do was not make a trade and keep his people.
Let my people go.
Speaking of menches, speaking of tribes.
Stanley will send out so many trade offers that he'll forget. And then 3 weeks later, somebody will blow up that he forgot that he offered as a trade, and then somebody will just accept it. Like, oh, what? But I don't remember offering. Oh, Stanley. Okay, so as we said, he took Jonathan Taylor with the first pick of the draft. You might think this is a quarterback heavy league. I don't know. Now, in your league, in your regular stupid head-to-head, half point from 100-yard bone, whatever. He probably was a good pick. Probably a lot of people picked him. I don't understand why he didn't take Austin Eckler because he had an insane year. So let's go and take a look at who ended up with the most points in our league this season. Our dear, sweet golden boy, Josh Allen.
I love him so much.
I know you do.
With 394
Joshy.
points. Not a bad year. Over 4 is pretty rare. Over 400, I don't think it's happened too many times, but 394 is very solid. Let's see, only 7 rushing touchdowns, 35 passing touchdowns. My God, he was just slinging those bombs.
And hey, by the way, he had
Slinging them
14
against
He
Miami.
had 14 picks, which is bad.
Very
in
bad.
our league, it don't matter.
It doesn't matter. You know, we don't do that minus
we don't
points.
care about those picks.
No, throw as many picks. Well, don't anymore.
Yeah, don't.
Look,
Quit throwing picks, Josh.
when you're a superhuman the way he is, you like I said, John, you were pulling your hair out the first year he
told me
played. I
that
said,
3 years ago.
stick with him,
Gotta-
man, because
Gotta
he's
tolerate.
when you make special plays, you're gonna shit the bed a couple times once in a row. But he comes back to like you can't change the style of play. I would like to see him take care of the ball a little bit more, and I don't know why we didn't run the ball more against Miami. I hope they start running it a little bit more. And but boy, God bless you, Motor. Look at that. That's why they call you Motor. Cannot believe he got that first down to seal the game. John, I have stress cried more this season. And I don't know. I'm going through male menopause. Just I cry a lot.
I went from being on my couch to kneeling on my floor, leaning on the ottoman, while my daughter and my wife are like in another room, not even engaging with me, which is fine. That's good. But I'm
probably
like,
for their own safety.
I'm like ready to shoot myself because
It's just
we're
too
gonna
much.
lose to the Dolphins.
That's not something you get over. I would
No.
not. I would not. It would
You
have.
know what I love? I love fuck the Patriots really hard. We are back. We are back to early 80s to mid 90s, full on Dolphins, squish the fish.
We really are. Yeah, this is what I
where we
remember
are.
growing up. It was always Miami that was hated, and then we
Yep.
graduated on to hating the Patriots' guts.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about them anymore.
That scar's never gonna. That's gonna be there forever. I will always hate you, Patriots, and I will always celebrate your failures. You too, Brady.
See you, Brady.
Bye-bye. Have a good off season, skinny boy. Who cares? Ooh, the Raiders are pursuing him heavy. Great.
I
Great.
didn't hear about that.
That's what I just heard. So Josh Allen, the number 1 point getter in Big League Chew this season, followed up in second by, well, we're going to go do a little draft analysis, but how about in the third round? Hey, Jalen.
Pretty good pick.
Great pick. 367 points. Probably would have, if he didn't miss those 2 games, could have finished in the number 1 spot, but very happy with him other than that last week donut that literally just crushed my soul. But I let it go already. I draft him again. In third, 1 point behind him with 366. Joe Burrow. Look, I got a lot of respect for this kid because the Super Bowl losing quarterback traditionally does not do well in this modern era. It's not like it used to be. And they really stepped it up. And don't forget, that kid had his appendix out and lost a shitload of weight, missed a bunch of time, came back, light up that stogie, Joe. I think they call it big dick energy. That's what Joe Burrow has. I like the swagger. I do enjoy that kid. I'd draft him next year. Following up with probably who's going to be the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, with so basically the 3 of them are within 7 points, 360 points. And then Johnny, look at the drop off. We go from fourth for the 4th highest quarterback score. From 360, we go all the way to 284. I don't know if we've ever seen that big a drop off. That's huge.
Oh, I'm not sure, but that's why it's so crazy in our league when you decide to pull the fucking trigger on a quarterback.
That's it. There's always usually at least 4 quarterbacks go in the first round. And I can guarantee it's going to happen that way next year, because look at those top 4. And then what a drop off. But right there in the 5th slot, Justin Fields. What's going to happen? What's going to happen there? They got the first pick. Am I wrong?
Somebody will not pick Fields in the first round because where he was, and they'll get a steal in the 3rd round, and then he'll light it up. Or conversely, they'll be like, "Oh, I need a quarterback. The top 4 are gone. We don't know. We don't know."
So then behind
I know Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr will not be drafted in the first 2 rounds of our league next year.
No, they will not. And then let's look down, and that you just listed off the next, and they're just way behind. We're talking 200 points. That's half, almost half, not really half, but close to half of what Josh Allen had. Unbelievable. What a drop off. You got Justin Herbert.
I stopped at Herbert. I didn't mention Herbert. Herbert's 200.
Yeah. 197. Horrible year. I was thinking about taking him in I think I had the 6th pick, right? Huge drop off. Look for him to bounce back if they get a coach. Good Lord.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's the bounce backs. It's like, yeah, you can't do this bad year after year.
You would think Tom Brady, bye-bye, Dak Prescott, injury, Lamar Jackson. Boy, my brother was flying high, wasn't he? He was flying high. By the way, at the draft, he looked at me. I didn't like this. I bet you $100 that Amon San Ramon Brown will have more points than Jamar Chase. I said, you're on. So I think I owed some money, but when he put the list about who owed, I think he probably absorbed that $100. So thank you, Tom. I appreciate the action. I wasn't gonna make you pay me because you're a great brother and you've helped me a lot, but I ain't gonna turn it down. So Lamar,
hey,
who knows where he's going?
By the way, family, can we just say a little prayer for Susie?
Yes. Oh, cheers. Prayers up for my lovely, wonderful sister-in-law. She is feeling much better, John. Thank you for bringing that up. We're very worried. Seems like she's doing okay. Boy, oh boy, John. Look at this mishmash. It's just a mess. Russell Wilson with 180. He decided he's only going to play in 3 games this year, the last 3 of the season. He showed up with 3 weeks left. But, I mean, he's barely just above David Mills. So the quarterback position is where the points are in this league. Now let's show you the second highest. Look, everybody says the running back position of dominance is over. Not in this league, because we get double points for those receiving touchdowns. And the points for running backs are just always going to be more than wide receivers in this league. It's just the way it is. And once again, Austin Eckler repeats as the number 1 running back in Big League Chew with 168 points. John, we've said this several times. If you get 100, that's a good pick in the first round for a non-quarterback. He had 168 points. He goes right before me. He should have gone second. Let's face it. Coleman should have had him. Stanley should have taken Josh Allen. But another great year. And you know what? Only 5 receptions. Only 5 receiving touchdowns for him. 13 rushing is a lot for Austin Eckler. He's had 9 or 10 receiving. So great year from him. Christian McCaffrey is back, and he is, boy, how happy is he to be in San Francisco? Good Lord. 153 points. Only 8 rushing touchdowns, John. There were some long ones and 5 receiving.
And he would have been better if he'd been at San Francisco all year.
Oh my God, he would have had 200 points. Yeah. And then we got like everybody predicted. Jarek McKinnon. What are you doing?
Was not drafted, I'm going to assume.
No. Well, I don't think anybody drafted a third string running back, even though it was for the powerhouse Chiefs. Nobody saw this coming. 9 receiving touchdowns, John, and I think they were all in the last 6 weeks. Good.
I'm pretty sure they were.
Googly moogly, that's a lot of points. Tony Pollard, there's another one. Nobody expected that.
Backup at 4.
a backup with number 4, a third stringer, a 3, a backup.
And a genius winner of the league who drafted Zeke and his handcuff.
It's a big reason why he won. Now, John, let's
is.
not forget, Kenny took Cooper Kupp in the second round, and he lost him halfway through the season. He would have run away with this. So he really kind of went in our league. That's kind of a no running back start. If you don't take your first running back till the third round, and it was Zeke. And then I think he got Pollard in the 9th. We'll look at it when we go through the draft order. And then he also had Jamal Williams, who had Jamal Williams last year, thinking maybe he'd be a nice flex. Boy, did you suck, Jamal. This year, 113. Unbelievable. 17. I do believe he broke a Barry Sanders record. Are you shitting me right now? 17 rushing touchdowns. He did not have any receiving, but 113 points. Coming up behind him, Nick Chubb, who I also had last year, who sucked, had over 100. 104.
You also have half Husky last year?
I had a half. I didn't even get to a half Chubb. I got like a quarter Chubb. It was growing because he scored the first 3 weeks, and then it was just impotent city after that. Delvin Cook with 102, who just never seems to be on my radar. He's injury prone. He's not traditionally a great running back in this league. But then
he has not been.
Tied with him, Derrick Henry, who we all know I should have taken. And if I would have won the league. There's no bones about it. The numbers don't lie. And then we got Aaron Jones with 92. And that kind of wraps up almost the top 10. Jacobs, Najee Harris. Yep.
Stop. Who did draft Derrick Henry right after you? Sitting right
that would be you.
Me.
That would be the pick right after me.
Yes. And, I would have hoped, obviously you want 100. I would have loved 168. Derrick had an up and down year, but yeah.
And Tennessee did not have a good year.
No, they didn't. If you had drafted Henry ahead of me, I would not have taken Kamara.
Who do you think you would have taken?
I don't remember.
Well, let's wait until we get to the draft analysis here.
Yeah.
Because then you got Najee Harris with 87, and now you're down. These are not great totals. 83. DeAndre Swift, if that kid could stay healthy and get the touchdowns that Jamal got, he could be a monster. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Had 78.
Zeke only had 78, but when you add that 78,
Samaje Perine, 78, same score, and he's a backup, and he scored the more points than Joe Mixon. You just don't know. Saquon.
I don't know how far do I have to scroll down to find my first round pick, Alvin Kamara, 48. 48 points. I can't count that high. How many players had more points than him? So I'm not going to. Cordero Patterson did. He was my number 2.
Now, listen. There's some names though, and this is how the league. You don't know. It isn't all these points. It's only scoring. Alvin Kamara had the same amount of points as A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson, Raheem Mostert, David Montgomery, and Cam Akers and Devin Singletary were only 3 points behind.
Who outscored him?
Really?
Alexander Madison.
Yes.
Fucking Alexander Madison. Are you kidding me? A backup.
But that is a list of good backs right there.
It really is.
Who were only in the 40s for points.
Good Lord. Pachenko had 30. Where's the other one? The one that got hurt. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 57. And then, of course, the Chiefs, 3 running backs. Good Lord. Oh, it's just gross. So, this gives you the indication. It's really about the longer touchdown runs, and those receiving touchdowns is always why the running back position is just going to be higher. Cooper Kupp could give a run for their money, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs that finished the year with over 100 points. Now, conversely,
wide receiver position.
Let's look at the wide receiver position to show you the difference. Leading the pack, Davante Adams. He loses Aaron Rodgers, but
I
comes up
finished second last year because I had that man.
You had Davante Adams and what's his name? Why can't I remember his name from San Francisco?
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. We're really on top of it.
A guy named Debo?
Yeah, Debo Samuel, who did not have the rushing touchdowns this year. So 129 for Davante Adams. That's great for a wide receiver. How many touchdowns? 14 touchdowns. And really had a bit of a dry spell after really, really hot stretches. And that really was a big part of Steve's second place finish. Christian Watson came out of nowhere. All you knew about that kid is he dropped that wide open bomb, and Rodgers was just muttering to himself, and stuck with that kid. And he had a very explosive end of the season with 105. And that is your list of players in the wide receiver position that had over 100. That's it. Just two.
So we had 8. I just counted 8 or 9 running backs, 2 wideouts. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know about our league. 2 wideouts for the 100 points.
You thought I had a good pick in the third round with that Philadelphia Eagle, Jalen Hurts. How about my boy A.J. Brown, who I do believe I took in the 6th? Finishes 3rd overall for the wide receiver position with 99 points. Oh, he would have had 100 if he didn't lay an egg. Lay an egg on the last week. Oh, God, disgusting. I'll never get that time back. I'll never get that game. That Philadelphia Eagles. Was it Giants? Good Lord. I'll never get it back. Anyway, congratulations, Kenny, for having 20 points from your kicker. Ugh. Stephon Namon, we love you. 96 points. So number 4. Great year for Stephon. Followed by Tyreek Hill. Who would have thought that? 93. I did not think he was going to be as successful in Miami. And we actually discussed earlier this season how in a regular fantasy league, he was lighting it up. He just wasn't getting in the end zone. He got in the end zone. That bullshit fumble recovery run that gave Kenny 12 didn't help. So good year for Tyreek with his new team. My boy Jamar Chase, who I took in the 2nd round, 78. That's the problem, John. There's not a lot of points with these wide receivers, but if you wait and you don't take one till the 6th round, you might have, like I did last year. Good God, I had Godwin. Yeah. Godwin was my number 1 last year. He had like 58 points. It's just gross because look at this drop off. We're already under 80, and we're at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. Only 5 players above 90 in the wide receiver position. Tyler Lockett. Everybody was down on the Seattle wide receivers because they just did not think Geno was going to come through like this. Happy for Geno. Amari Cooper, who had him on their radar? Nobody. 75. And then Justin Jefferson, for a stud as he is in regular fantasy, 74. Barely in the top 10.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't understand.
Amazing athlete. Amazing wide receiver.
Just doesn't get in the end zone nearly as much as he needs to for this league. And then I mocked you, Jalen Waddle. You deserve to be mocked because that stupid penguin dance. I don't care. I don't even like penguins anymore.
And I could have picked Tyreek.
Yeah, you could have. Wait, you took Waddle over Tyreek?
I did.
Oh, gross.
And
then I should have mocked you even more.
It was the difference of 22 points, which would have made me go from 12th to 12th.
You would have been one step up on those basement stairs. You weren't even getting, you're not even in the middle of the stairway. That didn't get you anyway.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
Oh, I enjoyed that drop this year a couple times. And look at Cooper Kupp.
Speaking of drops,
man,
I was thinking we get to the Super Bowl, maybe you do a best of splice and dice.
Oh, absolutely. That's going to go the demo reel, Johnny. I mean, just in our, I cut together a lot of promos this year. We're going to put those together. We could do an end of after the Super Bowl, but it's going to Sirius Radio. That's our pitch, baby. Yeah. Although, honestly, I think one of our best episodes, we didn't put any drops in because it was the special episode after we thought we lost our dear sweet Damar, but we didn't do any drops, and we actually came up. We were almost broadcasters. John Burrow. We got a future.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now, this is going to become a thing. Look at Deebo Samuel. Now, there was speculation. Stanley, when I first sent the list of the draft order, we always do it every same year, same time, same way every year, same time of year. We do it at Dunk Fest. And it's way too early to do draft order because you know why, John? Then I obsess about what pick, and then I overanalyze and I take Alvin Kamara over Derrick Henry. Maybe we'll switch that. I don't know, because what's that? The July 20th, 25th, and then we got to wait another month and a half. And I do mock draft after mock draft for no reason because nobody plays the way we do. But what else am I going to do? Not do the mock drafts? Now we're down to the 60s. Good Lord. Let's just get away. It's Deebo Samuel, 66, and he had 150 last year. Beware in this league, when you play this next year, beware of the guys that come out of nowhere and have monster years.
Yeah,
you really you're really going to rush out and draft Jerick McKinnon? I wouldn't touch him with a 50-foot pole, John. Anybody who has a monster year, I don't want them. I want the guys that shit the bed, which means, hey, Alvin Kamara, probably going to have 200 points next year. You're dead to me.
Dude,
you'll never be on my team again. I won't take him the 7th.
I want the 3-year average, which is something you can sort.
That's right. CBS Sportsline does a really good job of putting a 3-year average, and that's really the one you want to look at. We don't need to spend any more time. How about Gabe Davis? Just because we're the Bills podcast, 66 points, had as many as Deebo Samuel.
I'm shocked he had that many points.
Boy, you know, he had a great game.
Gabe's been disappointing.
He's hit or miss, man. He disappears in games, and I don't like that. And you see Isaiah Hodgins and the way he is ending his year. I don't know. I think Gabe Davis would be a very good number 3. I don't know. Yes. I like a stronger number 2.
I completely agree, but
you just can't disappear like that, Gabe.
I want to say that we're in the playoffs. Playoffs.
Right, baby.
And last year in the playoffs, had 4 touchdowns.
An unbelievable game. So we know, Gabe, we love you, but
Giddy up, Gabe.
We'd like a little more consistency on this powerhouse offense. Now, we would never normally take a look at the tight ends because we don't have tight ends because we know what we're doing. All you guys do is bitch about the tight ends, and if you don't get one of the top 2, then you're just hoping you're touchdown dependent. Well, what's a touchdown only league? We don't give a shit about catches. We don't ever pay attention.
Timeout, illegal procedure. The only reason we're even talking about the tight ends is because them Taysom bitches of Taysom Hill had 159 points.
It's a lot of points. Now, here's the thing, and I have to take this into consideration. Would I have picked up Taysom Hill in week 2 if I didn't draft Kamara? Would I have Saints on my mind? Would I even be looking at it if I had Derrick Henry? So I'm not going to beat myself up over it because I wouldn't even been close to being in it without Taysom Hill. 159 points. That puts him as just behind Eckler. Am I wrong? That's insane. No. And the reason is, okay, a tight end, he has 2 receptions. What? How could he possibly? 7 rushing touchdowns, and he tossed. It doesn't even say on here how many tossed. He does it. He had a couple. I know he threw a couple bombs as a 24-pointer. It's a fluke. Look, would I have enjoyed spending that money that I would have won first place with that stupid clown pick? I've been calling him clown pick since the beginning. It's only right that I don't win the league with that stupid. Although you took that money from Deebo last year, and you didn't think twice about it.
No, I did not.
Here's the surprising thing, and then we're not going to spend much more time on this tight end position because they all suck, except, shockingly, the number 2 in our league was not Kelsey. It was George Kittle, who the Stanley Almond bump, he went nuts at the end of the year. 90 points, which is, we just showed you what the wide receiver position did. Only, 3 or 4 over 90? There's 90 points from a tight end. And then Travis Kelce, 86. That's about what he gets. He's very consistent. In our league, he gets about 86. And then it's just...
And then the floor.
Cole
Props.
Kmet, Juwan Johnson. There's another New Orleans Saint. How
I
many New
never,
Orleans
I
Saints?
never heard of Juwan Johnson until
Me
right
neither.
now.
Me neither, but he had more points than Kamara. So did about
60.
4 Saints. Good Lord. When's he going to jail?
I
We're
heard
going to
it.
do a podcast when he gets sentenced.
I heard of TJ Hawkinson. He had 129 targets and 86 catches and almost 1,000 yards receiving
Wow.
and 49 points.
49. Now, it's not even, there's no reason to go. We're not going to talk about kickers because it's all fluky. Although
No, wait,
we will.
wait. Let's stay with tight ends. One more step.
Oh, okay.
Our boy.
Thought we were done.
I know. One
Young
more.
Dawson. Young Dawson Knox.
Dawson freaking Knox.
Who is our number 2, by the way? He's really our number 2.
Every time he scores, the Bills win.
Is that
So
right?
throw a fucking touchdown pass to Dawson Knox in the first quarter. We're good.
Go
We're done.
early and often.
Yeah. He had 48 catches.
That catch.
He is 2, 4, 6. He had the most insane one-handed sideline catch.
It's the craziest
ball.
throw. Who
Yeah.
throws that ball? Good Lord.
Who catches it? I mean, they're best friends. They're like,
Yeah, they are.
yeah, they're anyways. Dawson Knox, I think, is a next level tight end.
Yep.
45 points. You can't draft
45.
you can't even draft him if you're a Bills fan.
No, you
in our
really
league.
can't. It's not worth it. Not worth it. And I did look, John, I ended up with 9 defensive points. Just 9 for the whole
You know
season.
how many I had?
9 less.
Yeah.
9 less than me.
9 less than 9.
So my brother with the Patriots again, they had a great year last year. They have 84, and then the drop off goes down to 48. It's just fluky. You know what? Next year, I'm just going to draft one. I would have had more points if I would have just went with the team. I drafted Dallas. I dropped him out of frustration. There's no reason to get frustrated after 6 weeks if a defensive doesn't score. They just don't score. And if they do, it's just you got lucky. That's all it is.
Brother get all those points?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if he drafted them.
Stuck with them all year.
Speaking of let's take a look at the draft. And just gotta go right down the first few rounds, and then we'll wrap this up and take it home. Johnny, we've already discussed the absolutely horrific pick of Jonathan Taylor, number 1. And again, we picked the names out of a hat. It's just the luck of the draw or the bad luck of the draw. This was the best pick that I've had in a couple of years. I've had a bit of a bad stretch. I had the 6th pick. Number 2, Coleman Prodigal takes Josh Allen. Should have been number 1. Boom. The first bust of the draft was at number 3. Well, actually the second one, but that Justin Herbert is a big bust. We already talked about Jonathan Taylor didn't have very many points, but he was injury. And when you lose Eckler, I drafted 3 years ago, injury. What are you going to do? And then, of course, I'm like, well, I don't want to touch him again a year after. And he goes nuts. That's the way it works. So with that attitude, I should draft Kamara again, but it ain't going to happen. Justin Herbert, look, I could see him drop until the beginning of the 3rd round. I don't know. He could bounce right back. Who knows where Sean Payton's going to go? There's some speculation out here in the Los Angeles area. That coach should have been fired before they got on the plane. I mean, you can't accept the 27-point collapse. That's absurd. There we go. The 4th pick, Austin Eckler. God, he gets him at number 4. And then butterfly toast, I probably would have taken Kamara. My wish list, look, I would have taken Taylor, Eckler, or McCaffrey if they were available to me. And they weren't. So I had my pick the whole summer, John. Derrick Henry. I'm going to get Derrick Henry. I'm pretty excited. Love Derrick Henry. Never had him. Never had Kamara either. In less than a week before the draft, I changed my mind. It might have been 3 nights before the draft. I was just like, I'm going to go with Kamara because I had too much time on my hands. I did a deep dive. I saw the average of the points. Look, Kamara's averaged like 140 points over the last 7 years. We all know how that worked out. Butterfly toast gets him. Then we got Tom Lezat with Saquon Barkley. Not a good year. Finished strong, looking good in the playoffs. He could easily have 120 points next year. So we'll see where he goes. Joe Mixon, just never really on my radar.
Back up.
Yeah.
By the way,
Mhm.
Giants in the playoffs with our boy.
Love you, Dave Ball.
Charge.
One of my buddies said, a little rematch of Super Bowl 25. I said, I would love that. And you know what they should do? You know what they should do?
I never thought of that.
Yes. And you know what they should do, Johnny? I think he's still alive. I hope he is. We should re-sign Scott Norwood, put him on the active roster for the Super Bowl, just by chance that it's a blowout. We're blowing him away. Put him in there for a chip. Put him in there for a chippy 20-yarder and carry him off, and like he can die with peace in his heart.
There's an NFL kicker who missed 4 fucking extra points last week.
Bill Maher used to be on my team.
Let's not put that pressure on Scotty Norwood.
Scotty can make a 20-yarder.
Yeah, I know, but
not an extra point.
He also can take a nap. He just can sleep.
Look, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Scotty.
And on top of your head, you've always had that soft spot on top of your
head. His little Fontanelle.
Find his little Fontanelle.
Lamar Jackson, we mocked him. He deserved the mockery. Started out guns blazing. How'd that work out? Didn't even travel with the team. Didn't even travel with the team for his last game. Where's Lamar going to end up next year? We'll see. His mom's his agent. Not working out too great, is it? Cooper Kupp with the 11th turned out to be a great pick for Kenny. Unfortunately, injury-ridden season. Johnny, you jump right in here. Look at that. You know, most of you'd be happy with your number 1 and 2 running backs, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, in your regular leagues. Didn't end up too bad. How did Carl do so terrible? That's a solid start for being the 12th pick. Dalvin had 100. Aaron Jones almost 100. Ass kickers with Patrick Mahomes. How does Patrick Mahomes slide to the second round in our league? That's got to be the lowest he's ever been drafted since the first year he played. John, why don't you take us through the second round?
Oh, second round. I mean, at that point, you're coming back around because we reversed. So 12th pick, it's first pick in the second round.
Yep.
So you wanna do something good right there. And Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones is good in hindsight. Didn't work out. Patrick Mahomes, great second round pick.
Can I interject one thing? A couple of years ago, when I had the record setting, according to our modern records, the record setting season, I won that league from the 12th pick. I had the 12th pick and I took Kareem Hunt and Saquon Barkley. So the 12th pick, don't bitch about it. I'd rather have 12 than 7. Yeah. Najee Harris.
So Najee, that was a reach. I thought that was a reach by your brother. I was sitting right next to him in LA.
Yep.
But hey,
well, who would you take over him? Like, let's go through the rest of the second round. There's not many running backs left.
I'd probably take Debo over him.
I probably would have also.
Might have taken Jamar Chase over him. I'm scrolling down the other picks.
Yeah.
But I mean, not a huge reach. James Conner, that's a reach. Arizona.
There's a perfect example of somebody who has a great year. Don't touch them. You got to do it consistently. If somebody's like all of a sudden has 140, they ain't going to do it again. No. Those days, it's not the way it used to be when it was LaDainian Tomlinson every year. You know what I mean? You were guaranteed you're going to get 130, 140 at least.
You can scroll up and go 3-year average. That's what I did.
Yep.
3-year average. Who's been good?
Yeah, you got to do it more than once for me. I like to see people do it more than once. If you're hot and you have a great year.
Speaking of which, the 6th pick, I thought Leonard Fournette would do some good things. Bad pick. Very bad second round pick. Leonard Fournette. I could have had Jamar.
Yeah, you could have Jamar Chase.
I could have had Jamar Chase the next pick. I could have had Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Swift.
But again, those guys didn't score a whole lot of points. They didn't score a whole lot.
But Leonard scored none points.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Not a good year.
Kyler Murray.
That's an enormous bust.
Yeah, a huge bust. And I believe with his head coach gone now to Thailand, or I think Thailand.
He's balls deep in a lady boy right now.
Yeah,
He didn't even get a return flight.
Kyler's
doing ecstasy.
Toast. Kyler's toast. He's not good. He had one good year. Carl, you're welcome.
And Carl won. Carl won the year he had him. That was a Jalen Hurts pick. That's exactly what I thought when I was like, I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a Kyler Murray-esque year from a couple of years ago, and he did. Mm-hmm. Almost got me that championship. Now here's
Justin Jefferson, best athlete in the NFL, maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
He's insane. He torched us. Did not quite. I don't think he lived up to the 9th pick in the 2nd round, but he was awesome.
Yep. Just didn't have didn't have enough touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, I'm telling you, that kid is just one. He could easily have 150 points if he can stay healthy.
And I told you, and I told everybody this podcast venture that I wouldn't draft people from bad teams. Well, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Detroit sucked. They had a good year. They
better
did
record than the Bucks.
They have a good coach, and they scored a shit ton of points. And they got several draftable people for next year.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift being one of them.
And that Jameson Williams, who was hurt all year, who knows what that's going to do to that offense. But, I mean, who would have thought they were going to be an offensive juggernaut? And it looks like Goff solidified a job for himself, so good for you. Here's the first real bad break. Javonte Williams, who is a good pick, but, man, he was gone quickly. So that's really, okay, we have Josh Allen with your first pick. How do you screw that team up? Well, that's just bad luck. Williams gone when your number one running back is gone for the season very early on. Stanley at the turn. Stephon Diggs, great pick. Melvin Gordon. Melvin had a great year last year. He was on my radar. I would have taken him. Prodigal. Mike Evans, great pick. He just did not have a good year. I don't know how many points did he end up? He had over 100 last year, I do believe. Real bad stretch. He and Brady. We all thought Brady was doing the Masked Singer. No, he was just getting a divorce. Devontae Adams, there's a nice pick in the 3rd round. The eventual number 1 wide receiver in the league. Catching him with the 4th pick of the 3rd is a nice
great pick.
Steve had a very nice start.
Then wait, the Taysom bitches.
Oh,
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen, baby. Yeah,
now,
and
I was probably not thinking QB in that round. I picked right after you or right before you. I picked Waddle, and you laughed in my face.
I did. I mocked you mercilessly.
What the fuck, John?
Mercilessly. And Tyreek was picked 4 picks later.
Crazy.
But
still don't understand why you picked him over Tyreek, though. What was the thought process?
It was a combination of the fact that Waddle and Tua played together in college. Chemistry and the night before and a lot of beers.
There you go. Boy, honestly, thank God.
When you laughed at me and you're like, Tyreek's still there, I'm like, ooh, I'm a moron.
Boy, and then what? You gave Kenny.
It worked all right. It worked out all right.
It worked out for Ken because he got Tyreek.
Yes.
My brother takes Gabe Davis before he takes Tyreek Hill. There's your Bills homer.
Yeah. Wait. What the? Whoa.
You heard me.
Whoa. Time.
You heard me. He took Gabe Davis a pick before Tyreek Hill went.
Terrible pick.
He took Gabe Davis over CeeDee Lamb. I would not have done that.
Davis. I mean, now.
A lot of people were high on Gabe after that playoff game.
Forgive your brother. He had 4.
That's why he was high.
Receiving touchdowns in a playoff game.
Yeah. And the last game of the last season, thinking, why wouldn't he have, he's arrived. He arrived and then he went away and then he'd arrive and then he'd go on vacation. Not sure what was going on. Let's just real quickly. I really was debating between Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady, and boy, there's the difference between having a great, joy-filled season like I had and being miserable. I would not have been fully miserable because in my only other league, I did take Tom Brady over Jalen Hurts, and that's not much money, and I don't really care. I don't even know half the people in the league, and I'm thrilled that I owned Brady the year he completely fell apart. That joy overrides the disappointment of not having a good season. I still made the playoffs, squeaked in at the 8th seed. CD Lamb, DJ Moore. DJ Moore is one of those guys never on my radar. Never.
Yep.
Don't know why. He just doesn't score that many points. And then again, Kenny did not take up running back till the 4th.
It took Kenny 27 seconds to say Zeke Elliott.
Yeah. Well, he's the best running back available, and that really is a no running back strategy right there. But you can't argue with those first 3 picks. Mahomes and Kupp and Tyreek Hill. Jeez. That's power.
Won.
And then Zeke.
He won.
Yeah, he really did. Kenny is always in contention. Always a formidable opponent in this league.
Great job, Kibby.
Very good. Very good. Damon
Omaha
Pierce.
Steaks picks who is Damian Pierce?
He is
I forgot.
the
I
only guy on Houston.
I know. Once upon a time.
Yeah. And we got Adam Thielen, Aaron Rodgers. What a terrible year. And a year removed from not too bad. I had him last year, and then I got all pissed off because he said he was inoculated, and I was like, "You lying sack of shit! Get off my team!" Hey, my brother. I called my brother. I'm like, I didn't even call him. Just offered him Rodgers for Tannehill. I was out of it. And then you.
Can I talk about my
John? You're the co-host of the show. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want.
Round 4.
Yeah.
New team. New Juju. Tyreek Hill is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need to throw the ball to somebody.
Yeah.
I really thought
you just didn't.
Juju.
Yeah, you thought Juju had ended up being McKinnon all in the last 6 weeks.
Juju became no Juju.
He peaked. He peaked that year when he had Antonio Brown on the other side.
Yeah.
That was his best year, and I don't see him having. Again though, that team, you never know. Mahomes just spreads the ball around a little bit too much.
He does, but his best athlete is his tight end.
Oh,
guys! And then he looks at if his tight end isn't open, he throws it to his back.
And speaking of which, there goes the tight end goes almost at the end of the 4th round. Travis Kelce. Well, I tell you what, DK Metcalf and Joe, how about this for the turn? After he completely screws up his first pick, Stanley at the 4-5. DK Metcalf, Joe Burrow.
That's pretty good.
It's very good. Joe Burrow in the beginning of the 5th round. I think he was a little bit lower because of, the Super Bowl loser, and, they took out part of his insides. Kareem Hunt. Rough year. Coleman. God. You're so excited to have Josh Allen fall into your lap with a number 2 position there. And then he just unlucky. Kareem Hunt did not have a good year because
and Cole and I talked about his draft, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you think about her?" I'm like, "I don't know, might be a reach." And then week 2, he had 30 points.
Yeah. Speaking of reach,
and that was his only point.
Speaking of reach, we come up on Devin Singletary next. Love him, but just the running backs in Buffalo. And they just don't score.
Actually, can we just back up momentarily?
Yeah.
It was week 1. Kareem Hunt had 21.
Did he really?
He did.
So Roach is thinking 21. He's a genius.
And he finished with 21 plus 12 is 33.
Then we got Damian Harris, and then John. Can you recall a time when there were back-to-back AJs drafted in this league?
Well, no, I cannot.
AJ Dell into the butterfly toast, and me with that sweet AJ Brown. AJ Brown the 5th, I got him. Beautiful.
Yeah. And if only Antonio Gibson had a middle name like John or Joseph, would have been 3 in a row.
3 AJs in a row. It's too many AJs.
By
And
the way,
then
right after my pick, Ramondre had over 1,000 yards.
he had a decent
And
season.
and in our league where I always have to keep one eye open for Bill fucking Belichick, Ramondre is he's a fucking beast, dude.
Yeah,
He
he
runs
is.
over people.
He runs very, very hard.
Yeah.
He's
I-
just don't like having Patriots on my team.
no.
The only Patriot I've wanted on my team in the last 20 years was Randy Moss.
Mm,
Hate them all. Now, again, Mansfield Mob, here is where he loses his season. He waits on quarterback,
Russ.
but he picks Russell Wilson, and Russell was on my radar. I was thinking of him even. You never know how many are going to go early. I thought maybe I might have to take him in the third. But boy, just laid an egg, and that's the season. You cannot whiff on quarterback, and if you don't pick one up, man, you're screwed. So T. Higgins, another good pick.
And
Johnny,
just
we got about 10 minutes left, so we'll go through a couple more rounds and just see if there's any real great picks here. We don't have to go through everyone, and then we'll give our final thoughts. But look at Dak Prescott in round 6. Chase Edmonds went in the 6th. He had high hopes. Boy, he went away. He didn't even end up on the roster. Well, I don't even know what team he ended up on. Where'd Chase Edmonds go? Chase Edmonds went to the back of a fucking milk carton.
yes.
And there's your boy Matthew Stafford. Speaking of
Come
waiting.
on, dude. So waiting and thinking and
Yeah.
almost pulled the trigger on Russell Wilson at the 7 in round 5. Instead, Antonio Gibson. Terrible. When do you pick your quarterback? That's
Yeah.
so I wait till round 6. And why do I have to wait till round 6? Because, well, please not pick Dak Prescott.
Yep. Right before you.
Yep.
And that really, when I was looking at my draft pick, I was like, my draft strategy and my list, I was like, no, I don't want to end up with Stafford. Because again, he wins the Super Bowl. He's old. He had a great season out of the blue. You got to beware. Buyer beware of that shit.
Yep.
And then I pick up DeAndre Hopkins, which I thought was the smartest thing anybody had ever done. And I sat on him all year, and then I ended up trading him for a guy who got me 0. Foreman, Donta, whatever the fuck your name is. Nothing. So I really only lost. You know what? I think that trade cost me 2nd place. We can pinpoint that trade cost me 2nd place because I do believe there was weeks where I could have started DeAndre Hopkins. But look, I had Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, and Taysom Hill. He was expendable, and I needed to. You got to improve your team. You got to try. Yeah. If you ain't trying, you ain't winning. And then Steve, of course, waits on his quarterback, and he gets David Carr.
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to ask, was that Kears's first QB draft?
Yes.
Okay, because he carried 3 quarterbacks through 90% of the season.
He really did.
If he hadn't, he could have won.
He could have won. He could have picked some people up and improved his team. He did not. There we go. Dawson Knox in the 7th. Miles Sanders, that's kind of late. I mean, there's no sense in drafting a Philly running back. Not really any. Oh, there we go. Tyler Bass, first kicker. First kicker goes in round 8. Tyler Bass of the Bills to the meltdowns. That you can write that down every year. I pick the backup to my running back in the 8th round, Mark Ingram. I carried Mark Ingram for a long time. Worthless. Robert Woods. The Bills went in round 8, much to Jeff Golly, the meltdown chagrin. Some young guy snags him, says he just took the Bills kicker. You ain't getting back-to-back kicker of the Bills defense in a row. I'll make sure of that. Devonta Smith, prodigal. That wasn't a bad pick. I'm just going to skim here and see if there's really anybody noteworthy. Somebody took a shot on Trey Lance.
I want to put some input here. Okay. Where are you skimming right now?
I'm just looking at the 9th round because our time is going to run out in about 7 minutes. So I want to wrap this up nicely.
I want to go down to the 10th round.
Okay.
And I want to say that
The kicker run starts whenever somebody takes the first kicker. It's usually, well, there go 5.
Oh no, I want to back up to the 9th round. I'm sorry, we
Right.
missed. So Naheem Hines
Yeah.
was not a Bill at the time.
No, he wasn't. He was a Colt,
He
and he
was
had 100 points 2
drafted
years ago.
10th, drafted 10th by your brother,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's interesting. I don't
Yep.
know if he still had him when he moved to the Bills, but
No, because I picked him up.
right after him, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, there you go. And that's a long
That's
time to wait for your
that's
handcuff.
that's the one of the picks of the draft. That's
So far right now,
how
that's the
you
pick of the
win.
draft.
That's how you win, anyway.
Yeah, and that's really ballsy waiting to the number. Somebody could have snagged him. I don't remember the player, but I did. I drafted one of Kenny's. I think I might have drafted Mark Ingram when he had Kamara, and he was not pleased that his old pal Donkey did that to him.
I love that cocksucker like a brother, and he fucked me in the ass.
Wasn't on purpose. I just thought he's the best player on the board. I do best player on the board, but nobody did it to him this year, and he won the league because of it. So great pick, Tony Pollard. Right now, I'm seeing that. That's the biggest pick right now. I take Brandon Ayuk in the 10th. I started out the season with my team name was Ayuk. Kidding me? It should have been Ayuk on your shoes. We got rid of him, and he had a decent year. He had 60-some points.
10th round. Speaking of the 10th round, do you know who was drafted number 1 in round 10?
Alexander Madison.
Yes. Can you say that again?
His name is Alexander Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Alexander Madison.
Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. There's your boy
yeah,
Pickens. You didn't draft George Pickens. Steve drafted him and dropped him. Just get Tyler Lockett in round 11. That's a good pick. Jared Goff in round 12 ended up being decent. Here's a good pick. And by the way, for next season, Johnny, I got my eye on Kenneth Walker the third. I don't know what the other 2 did, but the third.
Yeah,
got the talent.
I'm thinking about the second.
Kenneth Walker the second.
Yeah. I
Mm.
don't know how many years he has left, but
George Kittle, who finished with 90 points, went in the 13th round. And we only do 13 rounds. So there you go, Johnny. Definitely
Tua,
Pollard.
Wait, timeout. Round
Did Tua get
12.
drafted? Yeah, Tua
Round
went in round 12.
Some young guy, Tua, got scooped up. That's a great pick right
It's a
there.
great pick late. So yeah, there you go. Ken Way, that's the only appropriate. Well, let's call it the pick of the draft. If we're not going to pick Jalen Hurts in the third as the pick of the draft, but you got to give it to Kenny with that excellent job. And with the look, he had Williams from Detroit. He had Herbert, and they had both running backs for Chicago and both running backs for Dallas. And he was starting the wrong guys. And finally he was like, I'm just going with Zeke and Pollard. And then I'll guess on the other. And that's really what won the league. So that's very, very smart. I like that too. Running back. Keith Byers, and Ernest Biner I had back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Both Miami, I
old.
believe.
Dude, you're old.
Well, that's what the OG stands for. It stands for old guys. And we want to just say, if you're here at this point, then you're a fan and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and supporting this podcast, our maiden voyage. And we're going to keep going, and we're going to build this, and we're going to get people into the scoring system, because if you're watching this podcast, you're addicted, or you're a personal friend or family, but you're not going to want to keep doing the new thing in fantasy. You're doing flex, you're doing super flex, 2 quarterbacks. What you're looking for the next thing. This is it. You can follow us on social media at Facebook. It's our names. I'm at the Brian Dunkelman on Instagram. Watch for a website. I'm going to develop a website, ogfantasyfootball.com. We're going to get that up next year. We're going to get more and more people involved. And who knows, we might be on Sirius. I'm pitching us. Do you guys remember who I used to be? John, grab onto these coattails. Let's get a job. You're young and you got your health. What you want with a job?
You're young and you got your health. What do you want with the job?
Let's just talk about fantasy football and make a living. What do you say?
Pump, pump, pump.
Johnny, we got to wrap it up. Final thoughts on this fantastic first season, and then let's take it home.
Oh, it's been amazing to talk about this with you after 33 years of doing it. I mean,
33 years, John, and our league is the way all leagues should be. It's about friendship. It's about keeping in touch. And for me, it's about family. I got a brother, I got a nephew in this. It's just an unbelievable amount of joy that this league and this sport and this crazy thing that we call fantasy football has given me. We hope you've enjoyed this season. We're excited to do next season. It's going to get bigger and better, and it's going to grow. And we really do think that this is going to catch on, and it's going to get super big. And then we're going to sell it to ESPN or CBS Sports for a few mil. And then I'm going to go, I'll be on a beach for the rest of my life. In the meantime, keep an eye out, John. Can't really say much, but if you're watching maybe ESPN, maybe the Golf Channel, maybe a little TV on the weekends about them, I don't know, let's call it late March. Keep an eye out for your boy Donkey. You might see him. John, everything's coming up, Donkey. Everything's coming up, Burl. Life is beautiful. The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. We're wrapping up our first year of this fantasy football league. Can't wait to do it again. We'll be coming to you with updates. Follow us on our social media. We're going to check out that website, ogfantasyfootball.com. John, I love you, brother. I've had a blast doing this. Can't wait to keep doing it again. And one more time, go Bills.
Bills, bro.